Alright, so the Intelligence Specialization will be updated on PC on March 17th, 2022, and a month or two later on console. So the main idea of this, according to this article anyway, is that they're trying to make intelligence more viable, more useful, so encouraging usage of this specialization more, as right now it is not exactly quite useful. The skills tree itself is still top tier for DPS builds, and there is no changes to that in this, so that's nice. The things that are going to be changed is the gather intel active sensor arrays mechanic on intel ships, and a few number of space intel abilities. So let's get into it. First up, a quick analysis of the gather intel. So now it only takes 6 stacks of penetrating scan to cause a vulnerability, in which case you can expose a weakness instead of being based on the rank of the ship. So, for example, frigate, cruiser, dreadnought, etc. And the duration of the vulnerability will be increased from 15 seconds to 30 seconds. So that allows you to expose a vulnerability in a more timely manner in case you're not fast enough. And the stacks of penetrating scan will not be applied while the target has a vulnerability or if it's exposed. So that makes a few things cleaner, so to speak, and all expose abilities now immediately expire, and existing vulnerabilities expire any existing vulnerabilities. So yeah, they're exposed. Simple as that. And NPCs no longer have a lockout period from vulnerability, so you can immediately start stacking penetrating scan again, but players still benefit from a 30-second lockout that is increased from 15 seconds. So that just means penetrating scan has become slightly less useful in PvP, but that being said, gather intel is already useless in PvP. So, okay, whatever. One disappointing thing I see from this is that there is no mention of any changes to whether or not activating gather intel will disable your cloak, because right now activating it disables our cloak, and you cannot re-engage cloak while you're gathering intel, which I don't know, but that seems to be quite an oversight. Shouldn't you be able to stay hidden while you're gathering intel? But never mind. Maybe that's in a future a future update, but that's not happening apparently. So anyways, moving on. So if it's not mentioned here, there is no changes. Let's start with evade target lock. So this is the one where you get some stealth, then you're harder to target. But it has been changed slightly. Instead of debuffing accuracy, your enemies get a penalty to damage. So that makes it more visible, so to speak. So the base disable and untargetable has been increased from 1, 2, 3, as in the versions of the ranks of 1, 2, and 3, up to 2, 3, and 4. So yeah, the base duration is longer. Nice. And it now scales with control expertise. Oh, that's nice. And the duration of the disable is now subject to control resistances of the effective foe. Okay, so let's say your target has high controlling resistance. They will have a easier time resisting evade target lock. Sure. And as mentioned, accuracy penalty has been switched with a damage penalty. And yeah, that sounds nice. So it's now it is a fully useful, somewhat maybe, defensive ability. Cool. All right, intelligence team. So the duration for all ranks has been doubled. Nice. And if you have threatening stance off, the duration is doubled again. So, I mean, if you're flying an intel ship, why would you be using threatening stance? But anyways, yeah, if you're not using threatening stance, you get double the usefulness of intel team. So, nice. Your stealth value is now consistent across all ranks, so equal to the rank 3 values that are available right now. So, nice. Defensive buff has been increased for each rank. So from the base of 10, 20, 15, 20 is now 30, 40, 50. Nice, very good. And a perception buff to recipient, which scales with the rank. Oh, that's great, yeah. So again, it's a defensive ability, but if you want to become untargetable or just having a little bit of stealth, Intel Team is nice. Subspace Beacon. So this one is the teleportation ability. So all ranks now have a distance limit of 20 kilometers. Okay, okay. So as long as you're within 20 kilometers of the beacon, you can teleport to it. There's a brief period of untargetable after teleport. Okay, so you have a brief period of stealth. Nice. Teleport now resets all threats when threatening stance is not active. Nice. So again, taking advantage of not using threatening stance. And your bridge officer cooldown reduction after teleport, which scales with the rank. Okay, so yeah, some cooldown to your bridge officer abilities when using this, so that makes it useful. Cool. Another alternative to Boimler effect, photonic officer, or the ox to bat thing. And there's some changes to text, so not important. And here's something very cool. So prior to this update, there's a shared cooldown between all the ranks if you have multiple copies of this of 60 seconds. Now this has been reduced to 15 seconds, so you can have multiple beacons and teleport to them one at a time if you want to now. So yeah, if you have multiple copies of this ability. So if you love teleports, cooldown of bridge officer abilities, etc., this sounds like a cool ability now compared to what it was. Electromagnetic pulse probe, EMP probe, now has its flight speed increased by 50%. So this launches a probe of EMP. So the probe itself has now increased flight speed. Nice. I personally actually do use this ability at times. There's now electric damage from the probe's pulses while it's in transit to the target, and foes within 2 kilometers of the probe will take some electric damage. Nice. The damage scales with EPG. Okay, so maybe some usage on EPG ships. Not as useful as other things like temporal or regular science abilities, but okay. Disable duration now scales with control expertise. Okay. Base duration of the disable, not the final detonate, has been reduced and benefits less from control expertise. Okay, that's a bit unclear with the previous statement, but okay, so basically, I think it means the duration of it is lower now, and wait, so it scales with control expertise, but then it scales, but it's affected less by the control expertise. I think that's what it means. So before this update, it has a base disable that is not affected by control expertise, and now it does, but it's less powerful, I think. Well, okay, some weird wording there, but all right. The probe no longer detonates until at least 10 seconds has passed, even if it's at close range. Okay, so it lingers a little bit around your target for 10 seconds before going boom. And it is now labeled as a control bridge officer ability, so it does trigger secondary deflectors of control, but for most EPG ships or science ships in general, it is usually recommended for you to have a drain secondary deflector, because those do a lot more damage. The effect of the secondary deflector is immediate, unlike a delay for the control secondary deflector. So for high-end play, this part is pointless. Anyways, moving on. Ionic Disturbance. So this impacts your target's ability to move. So now the projectile travels to its destination 3 times faster. Oh, nice. Okay. Damage resistance debuff increased for all ranks, and scales with Ox Power. Nice. Speed debuff now scales with control expertise. Okay, nice. So I see they're rolling out science stats to control these intel powers, so that's very cool. It is now labeled as control. Again, triggers on control secondary deflectors. Again, that's pointless, but if you want to go that route, not recommended. It is now available. A few errors have been fixed regarding rank 2 and 3, which cause the cloud to be centered on the user instead of the intended target. Okay, that's good. All right, Kinetic Magnets. So this is the one where it pulls mines and what is it? It pulls mines and targetable torpedoes towards it instead of you, for example. So kinetic resistance debuff has been increased from 20-25 to 30 to 30, 40, and 50. Duration of all ranks normalized to 15 seconds. Okay. Number of mines and torpedoes to be drawn has increased from 3 to 6. Very good. The range of which the mines are affected has been increased from 5 to 10 kilometers. That's excellent. So that means if anything is going towards you, that is a mine or a targetable torpedo, they will be taken by the kinetic magnet, assuming there's less than 6. And it no longer has a fragile damage cap. Nice. Okay. No, 2 left. All right. So surgical strikes and transport warhead. So surgical strikes has had its damage increased. Each increased by 30, 40, and 50% per rank, respectively. The standardized amount of critical chance and accuracy of all ranks has increased 30% for both of them. Okay, that's 30% increase to critical chances. Relatively significant. And there's an increase to critical severity for all ranks. So here it clarifies that this tries to make surgical strikes able to compete with beam overload, which is an amazing ability for beams, first of all. Actually, it is the top beam ability right now. But based on these numbers, I think beam overload still upscales surgical strikes. But on ships with less versatile tactical seating, this could be very useful now. So your option is there, but still I would recommend using beam overload if you can. Alright, so last one, transport warhead. The firing arcs requirements are gone. So that means if you're facing forward and you have a torpedo in your back, you can use that with transport warhead. Cool. So there is no damage increase because right now the transport warhead ability kind of sucks, honestly. All it is some shield penetration torpedo damage, but it's one torpedo. It's not really useful, but with this, it's nicer, I suppose. So yeah, your aft torpedo, if you're not facing the correct direction, has some use now. And the duration, the reduction to its cooldown has been made to 30 to 15 seconds. So yeah, you can use this more often. So that's cool. Yeah. Overall, I quite enjoy these new changes. Of course, the most useful intel ability is still override subsystem safeties, which increases your subsystem maximum power. No changes to that in this report, so I mean that's understandable. Of course, again, my disappointment is that you still can't use gather intel while cloaked, and if you're using gather intel, you can't go into cloak. But yeah, I hope there isn't updates to make that make more sense. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe and ring the notification bell to be notified of future videos. Helps out the channel quite a lot, and it's free, so why not? Also, you can contribute to my Patreon if you want to. Link in the description. We'll also find the link to membership and my Discord server where you can speak to fans and I directly. Alright, see you all next time. Bye!